It's kind of unique what I'm doing here. The title of my DVD is Bring Your Game to Its Highest Level. And I guaranteed that I'd do that, right? I put it in writing. I guaranteed I would help you bring your game to its highest level. And you might say, well, how's he going to do that? And I'll tell you. I said it was a secret too. Here's the secret. If I want to bring your game to its highest level, I'm going to bring you to the highest level. I'm going to bring you to your highest level. And so we need to train. And we're doing the pre-shot routine. We're setting ourselves up, getting ready to shoot. And I'd like you to reach the land of no thought, the land of dead stroke, where everything is almost automatic, where the shots are shooting themselves. I have this little exercise here. You can see I just throw the balls all on the table, and then I run them off. I refer to these balls as rocks. On each shot, no matter how easy it is, I go through my pre-shot routine. Chalk up, connect, know the stroke. 1, 2, 3. Set, pause, and finish. And I go around and I shoot these balls off. I call it piling rocks. I like to listen to the Q-tip go through the cue ball. I just build myself a nice little rhythm, always reinforcing my pre-shot routine. What I'm doing is instilling habits. I'm working on skills. Just working to get my stroke and experiencing making balls. So I'm not setting myself up for wild bank shots, because I want to experience making balls. I want to teach myself that. So I just throw all the balls on the table and I run them off. I run them off in kind of a rhythm. I run them off, and then I throw them on the table again, I run them off again, I throw them up on the table and I run them off again, over and over and over. I call them rocks. We are piling rocks. Let me tell you a little story about piling rocks. One of our initial staples in this game is going to be piling rocks. Let me tell you a story about these two monks that went to the master. And they said, "Oh master, oh master, oh master, we would like to have the experience of enlightenment. We would like to be enlightened. What must we do?" And the master thought for a while and he said, "Well, you go on outside the monastery and you take those rocks and pile them from one side of the walk over to the other side." It was a huge, massive pile of rocks. But the two monks wanted enlightenment, and so they were excited. And they went out and began to pile the rocks, piled them with great enthusiasm. They took the rocks from one side, piled it over to the other side. And so he said, "Pile those rocks again, pile them to the other side of the road." And in that monastery, those two monks went out there and they diligently went to work piling those rocks, one side to the other, back and forth, hauling each rock, placing it gently on the other side. And then when they were finished, they went back and they talked to the master. And they said, oh master, we pile the rocks. What must we do now?" And the master said, "You need to go back out there and you need to pile them again. From the other side of the road, back to the other side." They wanted enlightenment. They wanted it more than a man who was held underwater wanted air. And so they did what the master asked them to do. They didn't understand what they were doing. They weren't sure of what the purpose was. They didn't understand the dynamics of it. They just knew they were told to pile rocks. So they had to go from one side to the other piling the rocks. And it did appear to be a real daunting task. But over and over and over, they worked on piling those rocks from one side to the other, back and forth. And each time they went to the master, they said, "What must I do now?" And he would send them back out to pile those rocks. After a while, one of the monks started getting a little impatient. He was a little disgruntled. And he said to the other one, he said, boy, I don't know how this is working. I don't think it's working out very well. I don't feel like I'm getting enlightened. So he went on and on like that for a while, and finally he quit, while the other one stayed with it. He just piled the rocks, one side to the other, back to the other, one side to the other, back to the other, and continued to go talk to the master. And so he put them on the other side of the road, and he looked at him and he said, boy, I don't know if I piled these rocks or not. He had no memory of piling them from one side of the road. He didn't know whether he should go tell the master or he should pile them back again. And then he looked up, and the master was standing there, and the master was smiling at him. And between that interchange, eye to eye, the student accepted and believed and realized his own enlightenment. See, after all that time, everything became automatic and natural. That was his enlightenment. He no longer had to work. He no longer had to think about it. He no longer had to concentrate. It all became natural. That was his burst of excitement, his burst of enlightenment, his freedom. The rocks were piling themselves. And we have our rocks, our pool balls, our object balls. We run off a rack of rocks. We keep doing this over and over and over for as long as it takes. Some of us may take 2 years. I spent 3 years in my basement piling rocks. But we are going to pile rocks until the rocks begin to pile themselves. We are going to shoot balls until the shots begin to shoot themselves. And I can tell you from experience, and many of the other masters can as well, that once that happens, you don't think about anything. It's all automatic. It happens automatically. You automatically put your feet down, you automatically lean over, and you automatically shoot the shots. The shots are shooting themselves. Oh, what an enlightenment that is. And I can't wait for you to reach that point.